Now, following the disaster that was the Giuliani interview on Sean Hannity's show, defenders of Donald Trump are starting to feel a little bit defeated and demoralized. Not a good example of that is Ken Cuccinelli. Now, you guys remember Ken Cuccinelli. He's the guy who wanted to outlaw blowjobs when he ran for governor of Virginia. Yeah, that's a popular platform. I wonder why he lost. Anyway, now in discussing Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani's decision to admit on Fox News that the president had reimbursed Michael Cohen for the Stormy Daniels payout, which, again, is something that he had contradicted before. His president said, no, I didn't know about any payment to Stormy Daniels. What are you talking about? Cuccinelli decided to say that he didn't understand what kind of legal strategy they were trying to employ here. In fact, let's get to that video. Watch.
What's relevant here is Rudy Giuliani is incriminating his client on national television for obstruction of justice.
Yeah, you know, I would say that the way the president's legal team has operated through this whole thing has, just as a lawyer, been very curious to me. This is obviously part of a public strategy. And, you know, we mentioned Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, I think, has been held out as a pretty lousy lawyer in public, although I think the latest revelations suggest, well, he wasn't just flying out there on his own anymore. And I frankly, it would be a hard thing to be the president's lawyer, because ultimately he's going to have to answer questions, and you know how undisciplined he is. And today just becomes one more installment of questions, right? And it's another dozen. And that's very difficult for the president to handle. It will be very difficult for the president to handle.
Well, maybe that's why they keep leaving. You know, I mean, you keep seeing a shedding of talent around him because it gets hard to justify things that you know aren't true and you know are at best counterproductive.
Okay, so there's some things to break down in that. Now, I love when Cuomo says, well, that's why they keep leaving, right? But yeah, Trump hires the best people and then they leave because they're like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? So they're gone. But on Cuccinelli, he's like, man, I just can't seem to figure out what they're trying to do. I mean, what kind of public strategy this is? It's got to be some kind of public strategy. No, it's the fact that they don't know what they're doing. They're all idiots. I know, well, but how can you say that? They're all so accomplished. I mean, you got a guy who was a former governor of New York. You got a guy who's president of the United States, ran a successful business. How can they be dumb? You ever heard of the concept of failing upwards? Yeah. So this entire administration is nothing more than a giant example of how someone can fail upwards if they're given millions of dollars of inheritance. But anyway, look, I like when he said, yeah, it must be difficult to be Trump's lawyer. Now, why would that be? Well, it's because he's an idiot. He can't keep his story straight. See, the problem with lies, right, and so many lies, is that in order to cover up your previous lies, you've got to tell even more lies. And so the lies start stacking on each other. And it gets to the point where you can't even remember what the truth is. I think we are at that point. We have arrived there. And even Cuccinelli, who I have numerous problems with, is like, yeah, man, I got no idea what the hell they're thinking. His lawyers are really probably pretty dumb. They're even dumber than me, and I tried to ban oral sex. Now we got one more video here from the Cooch. And he's going to talk about his reaction to what Giuliani said about the FBI agents. Because, remember, the Republican Party is supposed to be the party of law and order. They're supposed to respect law enforcement, right? Well, the FBI is law enforcement. But Giuliani, he didn't think that anymore. No, he actually called them stormtroopers. Let's watch.
And the idea that Rudy Giuliani, you know, who has been living off his, 9/11 celebrity for all this time, is now calling FBI agents stormtroopers is really loathsome.
Ken, what do you think?
Yeah, you know, I get the spin. I really do not like to see anybody on any side of an argument wander into language from the Nazi Germany era. It does nothing constructive to help the discussion. Nothing constructive to help the discussion. And you know, as his lawyer, as the president's lawyer, Giuliani and all the others, Dowd before him and so forth, they do not have the option of just coming out on TV and making up a story. They have ethical obligations to have a basis for what they're saying. So, you know, this may be how they're presenting it now, but the contrast and involving two lawyers, Cohen on one side and Giuliani on another, does not help the legal team, their own credibility separate from the president.
Credibility, right? No, it is hilarious that anyone would think that either of these lawyers, Michael Cohen or Rudy Giuliani, have any sort of credibility. Again, this is a guy who wrote off his 9/11 fame for years. 9/11. This is a guy who was like noun, verb, 9/11, right? And used that to actually get votes using that tragedy. But look, credibility is now in such short supply on Trump's legal team. I mean, again, we've seen John Dowd gone, right? Ty Cobb's also gone. He's like, dude, fuck this. I can't keep up with this, right? You're going to go after, you're going to attack Mueller. You're going to do this. You're not going to sit down with him. You're going to do any of that. You're not going to cooperate with Mueller whatsoever. And while you're under investigation, well, then I can't help you. I'm out of here. Like, you want to sit there and fight and think you're going to outsmart Mueller when you're going to play three-dimensional chess? You think it's going to work? That's not going to work. You're an idiot. He's going to run circles around you. But look, man, Cobb, Dowd, none of his lawyers can control their client. Again, earlier, we talked about how Cohen was wiretapped after his raid. And Donald Trump's like, you know what I'm going to do? You know, it's a smart idea. I'm going to call up Michael Cohen after he had been raided by the FBI. Even though that there was the possibility, and again, that's confirmed, that he was wiretapped. Still going to call him up. The guy's a grade A moron. You cannot be stupider than Donald Trump. And, like, you know it's bad when your own supporters are like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what the strategy here is. It's pretty dumb. There is no strategy. These lawyers are flailing because they have no idea what they're doing. And even if they did have a sound strategy, there's no telling when Trump could come along and blow the whole thing up with a stupid tweet. This is the reality of working and dealing with Donald Trump. He's going to blow himself up. And you know what? It's going to be a public spectacle. So everybody, get your popcorn. Something's going to happen soon. This is unsustainable. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.